let's look at solving two-step equations. So in the last video, we just reminded ourselves of how to solve an equation, what it meant. But here, we're going to look at doing multiple steps or two steps. So the whole point of solving equations is trying to get x on its own. So that's what we need to do. We need to work backwards to get x on its own. So let's take a look at example 1. Now, if we're looking at example 1, what's happening to this x is we have our x and we are multiplying it by 5. We're multiplying that by 5. And then after we take x and multiply by 5, we're adding 3. So then we're adding 3. And after we add 3, we get our answer of 23. So if we want to work backwards, what we have to do is go back. We take 23 and we're going to be working backwards. So we're going to be subtracting 3 and then dividing by 5. Now that is the order of the steps that we are going to use. So if I balance this out, again, you don't have to write the line, but I'm just showing you that's where the equal sign will go, left-hand side, right-hand side. So the very first thing I need to do is get rid of the plus or minus on the end. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Now when I do that, I'm left with 5x. 3 minus 3 cancels out and it's 0. 23 minus 3 gives me 20. So now I have 5x equals 20. What I'm going to do now is get rid of the 5 because I want to know what just one x is. So the opposite of timesing by 5 is dividing by 5. See, I've already thought this stuff out at the beginning. So divide by 5, both sides, left-hand side, right-hand side. 5 divided by 5 gives me 1x. So I'm left with x equals 20 divided by 5, which is 4. So my answer to this question is x equals 4. Now you can always check that by substituting that back into the equation. So if we did a quick check, and we looked at this, so we said that's 5 times 4, so we'll go 5 times 4 equals 20, but then we have to add 3, so we're going to add 3, we get 23. So it works. So the answer is x equals 4. You can always do a check. Let's look at example 2. So let's put a line down the middle. So 4y plus 5 equals 17. Now let's take a look. If we have y, what are we doing to it? Well, the very first thing we're doing is we're multiplying it by 4. After we've multiplied it by 4, we're then adding 5, and we get our answer of 17. So we've multiplied y by 4, added 5, we got 17. So I want to work backwards. I want to start at 17 and get just y on its own. So let's do the opposite. So we're going to be dividing by 5 and not dividing by 5. We're going to be subtracting 5. That is not a time sign. So we're going to be subtracting 5. So subtract 5 because that's the opposite of adding. And we're going to be dividing by 4. So the very first step is we are going to get rid of this plus 5. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Now that leaves me with 4y. 5 minus 5 is nothing, 0. So 4y equals 17 minus 5, which is 12. So we get 12. So 17 minus 5 is 12. Next, we are going to divide by 4. Divide by 4. Now 4 divided by 4 is just y, or 1y, equals 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we get y equals 3. Let's take a look at one more example, example 3, and then you can try the rest on your own. You'll pause the video and try them. Okay, so let's try this. Line down the center just to show the left-hand side, right-hand side. Let's think about what we're doing. If we have x, well, the first thing we're doing to the x is we're multiplying it by 9. And then we're taking away 2, and that gives us 43. So if I was to work backwards, instead of taking away 2, I'd be adding 2, and then I would be dividing by 9. So let's do that. Let's get rid of the 2 by adding 2, doing the opposite. So add 2 to both the left-hand side and the right-hand side. This leaves us with 9x. 2 minus 2 is 0, equals 43 plus 2 is 45. After we have done that, we want to just get one x on its own, so we are dividing by 9, because we want to just get 1x. 9 divided by 9 just leaves me with 1, so 1x equals 45 divided by 9 is 5. So x equals 5. Now, that's how you solve, so pause the video and try the next 3.